welcome everyone to this special edition of Talented Universe with our special guest, Dean Devlin. But also we have our co-host today, Greg. Greg, how are you doing quickly?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you. Well, as I said, we have Dean Devlin, and he is here to answer questions about his new series, The Librarians, the next chapter. Now, I will say I was so privileged to go to Electricon this last year, and Dean surprised us with the first act of the first episode, and I was floored. I mean, I was so impressed, Dean, with what you did.
Well, Michael, Greg, thanks for having me on. I'm so glad you got to see that, because honestly, I wasn't expecting the reaction we got that day, and it was kind of incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, but hey, you surprised everybody.
It was interesting because before that event, I would say 40% of the people I ran into kind of had their arms folded and said, I don't want a new Librarians. I like the old Librarians. And,
yeah.
And by the time that 10 minutes was over, we had a standing ovation and everybody was on board.
Hey, it's amazing what that does. I mean, but the production quality, everything else. I mean, people, I really believe, are going to fall in love with it. I really do.
I hope so.
I mean, it's wonderful.
From your Nielsen's ears.
Exactly. Nielsen's always that fun thing. And then this is just something. So I was at Electricon too, from Films and Fandoms with Kaylee and Lex. So yeah, I mean, it was such a great experience. Now this is a little off topic. I'll go ahead and throw it up quickly. So not sure if you're asking questions or not, but here's mine. What current movies or shows are you a fan of? And do you have any shout outs or Easter eggs for them in your shows?
Well, I don't think it's a secret to anyone that I'm a giant Doctor Who fan, and you can find all kinds of Easter eggs in all of my shows to Doctor Who. Yeah, that's probably the easiest one to see.
Yeah, that really is true.
Those.
Greg, I'll go ahead with you if you've got anything to ask Steve. So.
Oh, I was just comment. We'll be looking for his Easter eggs. So I mean, like many, we're a fan of the original, and it's been, I don't know what, 7, 8 years.
Well, actually, we're just going on over 20 years before the first Librarian movie came out on TNT.
That's right, too. Wow.
That's a long time.
Crazy.
No, we're not that old, are we?
No, we're not, but that's beyond the point. So
so we're really excited for it. What aspects of producing a show like The Librarians are you excited about being able to do that you weren't able to do in the early films or in the previous series?
Well, I think as technology evolves and becomes more accessible, the ability to do our very ambitious ideas become more and more doable. In this pilot episode, it opens with him breaking into Genghis Khan's tomb, and I wanted a massive cave, a massive area, and in the past that would have meant a huge trek to a location and a lot of expense, but the technology that's now been developed for The Mandalorian and some of these other shows about putting things on these giant LED screens, we were able to kind of create this incredible Indiana Jones-like set and shoot it on a soundstage. That's something that we couldn't have afforded to do in the past.
That's something to look forward to.
Did you have to build any extra stuff out on the stage out there like you had done for other things?
Yeah,
like the arc and everything.
Some stuff that the actors interact with, and then there's always that tricky part of where the set meets the screen to make that feel. So yeah, it was a little bit tricky, but again, now with Unreal Engine and video game technology, how you can render things in real time, it's really incredible.
Has that made things easier for you, harder, or want to express even more because you can do more?
All of the above. I mean, it's more difficult in that we've got to know farther in advance what we want to do, and then we have to build those sets in the video game engine. Then we got to make sure it's going to work with our cameras and the screens but on the other hand, the actual shooting of it makes it so much easier.
Wow. I can see that. I can see that. What advice do you have to people that have never seen the Librarians and this is their first part of the franchise that they're looking at? Do you have any, or is it just jump in and see what happens?
Well, I think the thing is look, this is not a show that attempts to be a gritty, grounded, reality-based show. This is a fun show. This is an adventure. It's Indiana Jones with magic. It's if this is a kind of show that you would enjoy, if you like Doctor Who, just jump in. We tried to design this season that if you've never seen any of the Librarian movies or old TV shows, you could jump in and not be confused, that everything would be explained to you. That even if you miss episodes 1 and 2, you could jump into episode 3 and you'll figure it out. It's not, we don't make you have to do a lot of homework to watch the show. That said, if you're a longtime fan, there are Easter eggs everywhere. And, for the hardcore fan, they're going to find a lot of things that they're going to notice and enjoy. And all that time and effort they spent with the franchise will
pay off. Yeah, and Films and Fandoms said half the fun of watching a Dean Devlin show is finding the Easter eggs. That is so true.
I always liked it myself as a fan when I saw it in other shows, and so you want to say to the people who spent time watching our shows and rewatching them, that just say, we see you.
Do you find it easier now that, you did, you've done, this is your third show filming in Serbia, if I am correct. Do you find it easier now, going through the casting and everything else that you have to do because you've done it before and you know some people and you have connections? Or is it all just a fun challenge each time?
Well, it's always a fun challenge, but I'll say this, what a lot of people don't know about Serbia is that when it was still part of Yugoslavia, the dictator at the time, Tito, he was a huge movie fanatic. In fact, he financed some famous movies like Guns of Navarone and some others. And he started the largest film school in Eastern Europe. And it's right there in Belgrade. And so over the years, they've cranked out amazing filmmakers in every division of filmmaking, from production design, camera, costumes, directing, everything. And so there's a wealth of talent there that you don't normally find when you go to another country. So I've been so blessed to get the best of the best in Serbia, and they've taught me a lot about the way they do things there. And I think that we've brought to them some of the ways that Hollywood does stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I would say that now on our third TV series and after doing a feature film there, we really have a great communication and a great language.
Yeah, I have noticed that you have used a lot of the same people from the ARC coming over, such as the directors, costuming, and some guest stars too, which I'm very happy about that I saw. So,
well, I think you could see that kind of across the board in all my work. When I find good people, I tend to want to work with them over and over and over again.
And put a wig on them or something, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I totally get that. I mean, as you know, we had a lot of your cast on our show, and they were all just fabulous people, great individuals, and they were so much fun to have on. And I hope to have more for the Librarians. So,
oh yeah, you got to meet all the Librarians. That is a really tremendous ensemble of people.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to have meshed very quickly, just by looking at that first thing.
Well, you're right. I mean, normally, it takes half a season before you start to get a rhythm, and they had it in rehearsals. I mean, it was crazy. They're very much like jazz musicians. They really listen to the other person, and they bounce off each other's rhythm. And so we were able to get a rapport on day one of shooting, which is very, very rare on a TV series.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed it, and the little that I saw. I mean, and I think that's what got me is saying, "Oh, they are together." I mean, this is great. I mean, it's good from the beginning. So, I don't know.
Well, hopefully, you get to talk to them soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Greg, anything?
You'd mentioned costuming. One of the things I loved about the original series was the costumes.
Yeah.
For the different events and storylines. God, this is really hard to ask because of the we don't want any spoilers. Was there anything that was particularly difficult to source or to have made that you can share?
It's a great question. What's really unusual about the way even our costume designer works is that she doesn't buy anything. She makes every stitch of costume that you look at, she makes by hand. And Christian Kane guest stars in the pilot. And there was one particular episode of the old show where we saw him kind of in the future. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if this costume from that is his costume here, and we can link those things. And everyone said, "Oh, we don't have those costumes anymore. Those were gone a long time ago." Even I said, "No problem." And she, from scratch, recreated that costume. And she and her team are just remarkable craftsmen.
Yeah, we had her on, and I mean, I was so impressed with what she said. She said, "Oh, I couldn't find this, and I went and had it made if I couldn't make it, and put it together." And it was like the story that she was telling about the helmets for the Ark. I mean, that was like
truly remarkable.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a conflict that day. Oh, that was one I wanted to be on because I also love the art and production aspects of the shows.
Yeah, they're terrific artisans over there. I mean, just terrific. I mean, the set of the annex in the new Librarians is so intricate and so big that Librarians and
well, they did warn us they were having internet issues earlier.
Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. Okay,
got you
Dean,
now,
I think
Dean.
you're back on now, Dean.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It
No
kind of
worries.
jumped.
Where did you lose me?
Just at the beginning of the answer, actually.
I forgot what was the question.
About the annex, the new set.
Oh yeah, it has so much depth. It has so many nooks and crannies that we're a season and a half now into shooting the show, and I still haven't shot the entire set.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so it's really fun shooting there. And by the way, when you look at that set in the annex, none of those are antiques that we bought at a thrift shop. Every single thing you see in there, they made by hand and then painted it to look like antiques.
That's really cool. That is really cool.
Now I need to address something and from Susie, which is, and I mean, I was talking to some people about, sadly, it's very, very crazy, the Librarians, the next chapter, first couple of episodes, because of sports on TNT. And I understand why people are confused. But the best I can say to everybody, look online at the schedule. And if you set your DVRs, make sure you add time in case it gets a little delayed, because sports sometimes tends to do that. So,
the thing is, and I know it seems like an absolute mad schedule.
Yes, yes.
But the truth is, today, a lot of people prefer to watch their shows on demand.
Correct.
And the live shows are the few things that you have to watch when they're on. And TNT, I cannot begin to tell you how supportive they've been of this show. I mean, it's crazy how supportive they've been.
Hey, they ordered a season 2 and you haven't even shown season 1 yet.
Exactly. And so they felt like, we know we're going to get big audiences on these live events. We want to put you on right afterwards and introduce that audience.
Mm-hmm.
A sign of confidence. That is a kind of support that we rarely see today. And yeah, it's a little bit goofy. And you're right, just set your DV. But I think it's giving us our best shot of capturing a large audience and getting as many people as possible to sample the show.
And they may, if it's right after a sports event, honestly, they might just keep it on. So, and they might not have wanted to see it. It wasn't even on their radar. So, no, I agree with that. It's just, I totally agree that it's very sad that, too much craziness. But
I'll tell you, the support that we're getting there is it's been 20 years since I had this kind of support. They bought a commercial on the finale of American Idol.
I saw that.
I mean, that's crazy.
I saw that.
That is awesome.
I was very surprised. I went, huh?
They bought commercials on season finales on shows on CBS. They bought ads on Netflix. I mean, I can't tell you how long it's been since I had an off-network ad. I mean, it's
that's exciting.
I can only tell you, I'm so grateful to be home again and to be working with
at TNT,
with this much intelligence, this much enthusiasm, creativity. It's humbling.
Now, if I say something bad, just slap me. But didn't TNT give you some stuff to hand out at ElectriCon?
Yes,
that's what I
right.
thought.
Wasn't that wild? They created that book.
Yeah, that was such a cool book. It's somewhere in my other room, but I was going to bring it out and I forgot. And it was like, because it was so cool.
But that's what I'm saying. It's rare in these days. In more often than not, we're just treated like another thing on the shelf. And to really get this kind of nurturing and support, and support for the fans. Tonight we're doing a fan screening here in New York. This isn't for like the top critics this is for fans. This is for people who love the show. And the fact that TNT organized this and rented out this amazing place at this museum that looks like the library. Oh,
cool.
I mean, these are the kind of partners you dream of having in this business.
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, as I said, I was looking at American Idol and it was like, the Librarians? Wait a minute. Isn't
dude that commercial
not owned by
cost me to
Disney?
make?
I was like, what?
Yeah, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
We need to close probably pretty quick, but what I want to ask, then I'm going to have Greg ask a few questions at the end. What would you tell the fans out there that watch the first Librarians? What would you say that they are going to get out of the new Librarians that they might not have gotten out of the original?
Well, the first thing I'd say to them is, don't think of this as a replacement show or a remake. It's not.
It's not. No.
If you look at kind of what Marvel has done with their cinematic universe, or what Lucasfilm has done with these different stories all told during the times of Star Wars, that's what this is. This is a parallel story taking place in another annex from another time and a whole other set of characters. But this isn't replacing the original Librarians. This is just happening elsewhere while the original Librarians are off saving the world week after week.
Yeah, they do it over there, and the next chapter is doing it over here.
Exactly.
And now we have already seen some crossovers. Will there be any more, or can't you say? Or you just
I don't want
smile? I don't want you to give anything away, but you
Okay.
can just smile, and then they can think of what they
I will
want.
tell you that a beloved character will show up later this season.
Cool. I like hearing that, because that's always fun. And lots more Easter eggs, correct?
Lots of Easter eggs.
Okay, Greg, your final little
That's
questions.
Oh geez, I'm run. I was gonna talk about the antiques, but you already talked about the antiques. I was gonna ask about the antiques, but you already asked about.
Well, I would say when you're looking for Easter eggs, look at some of the designs on those
Yeah.
because you'll see some patterns that may be familiar.
Okay, so I'll ask it this way: is there an artifact that you aren't using in the show, but it's in the library that would be your favorite of those not being used in the show?
Well, the ones that are in the annex are ones that we end up using in the show at some point or another. Part of the idea is that Vikram was a naughty librarian, and rather than bringing the artifacts into the main library as he was tasked to do, he often left them sitting around in the annex. And he did that so that he could use them when he's not supposed to.
Interesting.
So, there are things there that will be used for the wrong purposes over the course of the season.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few little questions I wanted to, from Mary Brewer. If you can't answer this, fine. Is season 2 finished filming, or is it still ongoing?
We just finished shooting episode 6, so we're now into the second half of season 2, with some very special guest stars in the episode shooting right now, and I'll be directing the finale.
Oh, okay. And then the other question was, which I think I know the answer, but Marcia Middleton asked, how many episodes are in the first season?
Seasons 1 and 2 both have 12 episodes.
Each, right? Okay.
Yeah. In a time where more often than not we're seeing 8 episodes and 6 episodes, to get 12, I'm very grateful.
And JP says, Dean, thanks for being so approachable and down to earth while being a huge contributor to entertainment joy, millions of people. I totally agree with that.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, the thing to understand is I do not come to this job as a expert historian of film. I come to this job as a nerd who loves watching nerdy stuff, and I decided to make some of it that no one else was making at the time. So
That's why your stuff's so great, I think.
I don't care about awards. I don't care about critics. I don't care about whether we're fashionable. I care about running into fans. I don't know if I could have gotten through the pandemic without hiding off in the magical library with you a couple times a week. You know, that we make the shows for the fans, and the fans have given us a fantastic life. So it's a very symbiotic relationship.
And this is the last comment I'm going to put up, and I totally agree. And that's why we love you and your work so much.
Thank you, JP. Appreciate that.
Yes. And Dean, I'd like to say on behalf of NDB Media and Talented Universe, thank you so much for coming. I hope to see you more for the Librarians and the ARC and all the other fun stuff that you get your hands in with.
Let's talk after you watch the finale of season 1. I'm really curious to see what you think of it.
Of the Librarians?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'd love to have you.
13 weeks from now.
Yeah, there you go. Well, actually 12 weeks, but we won't go into that now. But so everyone.
I'm thinking next week is the first week.
Yeah, well, but there's 2 episodes that week. So
it's 1 and 2.
Okay.
1 and
Sunday
2.
Monday.
Yeah.
That's
Set
right.
your DVRs. Mark your calendars.
And if you don't have a DVR, this is for Susie. There are a lot of time slots that the show is showing at. It looked like they're rerunning the first night's episode ahead of the hockey game on Monday. So that's really cool, too. They're giving you that much airtime as well. That's exciting. TNT does a good job about giving you multiple opportunities to see these shows.
Right.
That's why I said look at the schedule, because you may find it other places that it might be easier for you to watch. So on behalf, as I said, ND Media, Talented Universe, thank you very much. And we'll see Dean in about 12, 13 weeks.
See you then.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.